Hey, how you doing? I'm going to do something that Fool in the Rain and Bernard Purdie inspired, and that was Jeff Porcaro's Rosanna Shuffle. Which is very similar to the Fool in the Rain Shuffle. The groove is still the same. It's still based on the Purdie Shuffle. But the thing that does a little more to it is it is faster, so it cooks along pretty good. Even though it's a halftime shuffle, it cooks along pretty good. But as Porcaro also said, it does the Bo Diddley figure on the bass drum. And he actually does a variation on that. Now, the whole groove of the entire two different tunes is the triplet thing that everybody finds so hard to kind of get their hands around. And one of the things that I found is that it has to be super smooth in order for it to groove effectively. And the triplet goes something like this. It does a shuffle on the hi-hat. And it actually puts the triplet, the remaining eighth note, if you will, in the middle, the end. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, as ghosted notes on the snare drum. And it's got to be really kind of light in order to blend in with the hi-hat. And that's the part that has to be super smooth, because if not, it comes off kind of herky-jerky. And it's not that way. It's more like a river running downstream. And I will tell you, in Porcaro's demonstration, he doesn't do a few things because he's so good at what he does. He doesn't show you something that does make it a little bit easier for the shuffle hand on the cymbal. Now, the shuffle hand basically does this. 1, a 2, 1, a 2, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, that kind of thing. But a lot of us can't keep that up for the whole tune. So what I have found is I have kind of a wave going on with my hand, and for all you right-handed drummers, it would kind of be over here. And what I am doing is relaxing my fingers to let the bounce happen, and then kind of clamping it closed to actually get and I'm left-handed, pardon me, to actually do this to help with the bounce. And if you can see it, I'm doing this. The fingers are kind of doing this. And it's the kind of clamping on the main downbeat and then releasing. And my hand is kind of doing this with my arm, kind of like in a wave. And that seems to help me actually get the shuffle pattern to happen a lot easier than trying to do it all wristwise. So there's some finger action in here that needs to be taught, in addition to the... And I really feel that when you're cooking along, this motion in your hand with the clamping of the fingers and letting the stick bounce and all in here really does lend itself to the smoothness. Now, the other thing that is the most awkward thing to do if you want to call it awkward, is that slamming backbeat that he has on what would be 2 and 4, but it's actually, since it's a halftime shuffle, it slams down on, I guess, the ends. Now, that's not too bad when you're doing it in itself, but put that triplet along with it. And the key here is you need to still get that solid backbeat, but you also don't want it to step on or become too rushed to make the groove not lay down anymore. And I found using a Swiss Triplet technique seems to help where the actual note should be. Everybody knows what a Swiss Triplet is. It's a basic triplet that does not alternate. So, and the reason why I'm having you take hold of the Swiss Triplet is because 2 hands have to come down on that slam and backbeat, the shuffle and the main backbeat in order to sound right, and they got to be as close together as possible. So I've got that. And that's a key, because all of this has to be smooth up top in addition to the bass drum doing the punches of the bass guitar. And you've got to watch in the spacing on the double bass drum beat so it doesn't come off too close and sound more like a 16th. It still has to be in that triplet vein. That triplet vein has to still be there. So let me give you a taste of what it sounds like, not in Rosanna, but even in another feel. And so on and so on. The key to doing this thing, though, is taking it apart piece by piece with the finger motion to relax your hand to get the groove real nice and smooth. Then the added triplet on the ghost noted snare drum. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And the slam and backbeat. And the bass drum. And it all has to be spread out so that it's smooth. That's the key. Practice each one separately to get that as smooth, and then once you finally put the project together, it comes out something like this. Have a nice day. I'm having fun.